What'd you do to the sound, Dean? You killed it. You boomered the sound.
Did I?
Yeah.
Oh, that's weird.
It totally like dropped. Hello, everybody. Yes. Dean's messing shit up again. Just start the video over and turn up the volume because we just lost viewers.
Huh.
It's all your fault.
No, that's weird. Shouldn't have.
Dean.
Yeah.
Hey.
Hi.
Oh, that was crazy. I don't know what you did, but yes, Hervosia.
No, Distant said the sound was fine. I think it was you, Vicky.
It wasn't me, unless it was something weird with StreamYard. But you know, Hervosia, you're never going to see that book. Like, you might as well forget about it. We all might as well forget about it. I didn't back it, but if you did, you're not seeing Doomkicker. You're not going to see Sovereign. The only book to leave the top 10 since the last time I did a top 10 was Richard C. Myers' Expendables Go to Hell, because he finally fulfilled that fucker. And then that caused Antonio Bryce's Wave the Gun to move to number 10.
Yeah.
So technically, I mean, I consider it late, which would be Battle Brick Road by Eric Weathers. I consider that book late because there was no fulfillment date. I gave him a nice cushion of 3 months because, you know, you should be able to get a book out in 3 fucking months if you're a professional. And, or he should have had it done partly before he started the campaign. It made $88K around there, and they've just finished the inks or just starting the inks. and it's been 17 months.
That's a long time.
It's a long time to wait for a fucking book, you know?
Not like it's a novel. Not
Well, I
writing Shakespeare.
I know, exactly, and I think, you know, how was it? Rob Arnold, Mr. Dogs did a post on Kiwi Farms about, this, you know, the problems with Comicsgate, and the biggest problem, um, to me, is late books.
Yeah.
Forget about the content, because 'cause you're always gonna find somebody that likes it, right? Somebody's gonna like art you don't like, somebody's gonna like a story you don't like. Just because I think Joe Ball's art is shit doesn't mean somebody doesn't think it's the greatest thing since sliced bread, right? But why does it take so long? 1, so long to get out a book, and 2, once you've given yourself a fucking year, why does it take you even longer, right? And, that's one of my biggest pet peeves, and the things that lead to that are 1, spending way too much time on freaking live streams. I like Dan Fraga, but every time I watch Fragtober, every night he was on there for about 2 hours drawing. All I could think of was, "Why aren't you spending that time drawing your book, which was supposed to be out in January, so you can get it out to your backers?" Right?
Seems a little unfair, Vicky.
Ethan spends hours live streaming. Hours. He does these 3-hour live streams, sometimes 2 a day, right? Sometimes 4 hours. I mean, it's just crazy amounts of time sitting in front of a camera talking to people when he should be drawing Wrecked Planet. That book should be done. Well, that book should already have been done. He should be busy drawing Rainbow Brute because that's supposed to come out in a month.
Seems a little unfair.
Am I being unfair,
I think
Dean?
so.
Am I?
People no, you're not. No, but, like, I mean, at this point, like, I guess people just expect it, right? I don't know.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. So,
Um, and speaking of Fatal, that is another book that is extremely late. Um, I have it here. I actually made a note of like the notable late books because they didn't hit the top 10, but they're late as fuck, right? So, and I think I may have deleted them. Now, Camel Moon, Hail Salad, that piece of garbage looking book. No offense to anybody who backed it and thinks it looks great, but that thing was supposed to be out in February. Fatal was supposed to be out in February. That's Clint Stoker's book. Wrecked Planet was supposed to be out in May. Um, Dragon Guard was supposed to be out in May. Replicator 3 by Rob Arnold was supposed to be out in June. Okay, he's only 4 months late, but that's still 4 months. I think anything over 1 month is egregious. I already think being late is an insult, but being more than a month is horrible. But that's just me. I mean, all your guys's, opinions may vary.
yeah. No, I don't know. Like, yeah, these books are late. Get to work in comic creators. Where's my book that I didn't back, motherfucker?
Yeah, Hail Salad was a real project. It started off as originally it was going to be he was going to be doing a DVD of all the um Space Ghost rip-off shit that he had done until I think he may have gotten DMCA'd or something, not positive. And so he decided to do a comic book that he says he is hard at work at. even though it was due in February. So,
Yeah.
but anyway, should we move along? Or do you have anything to add? I know you don't back books, but what do
No,
you
I don't
think?
care about comics. Just don't care. But yeah, I mean, these books are late, you know, and I think people
Yeah.
care about that. It's a real problem.
Yes,
Real problem.
yes, Amit. That Wolf Book Bonds was by the Eastern European chick. Um, it's been being fulfilled from what I understand. Um, but there are some issues with that campaign from what I understand that don't actually have to do with fulfillment, but some behind the scenes stuff that just seems like virulent gossip. But so yeah, Tonic Mole, he puts those books out, those Saving the World out books like clockwork, and he delivers the fuck out of them. So, and they're good too. They're fun little books. You
Good.
ready for that next video?
I am.
Is it sitting there waiting to be
It
shared,
is sitting
Dean?
there waiting.
Yay. Turn up the volume this time.
You can't go F this person if they're a fan. That's a clear divide for me. And that happened, you know, it happened sometime recently. I'm not going to say who it is. I'm not going to say when it happened or where it happened.
Hey, Matthew Fowler, how about you just get the fuck out of here?
Oh. I'm ready for some spice. Come on, man. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, I'm not going to name this person by name because I think that's bullshit to do, right? So I'm going to have to speak in general terms, and I know that's probably not what everyone wants, but it is what it is, all right? Because I don't want to go around saying, oh, you know, make drama between this person and that person. But there's a few rules, right, that I believe in, and I don't know if they're actual rules, just ways that people should interact.
Like guidelines.
Guidelines, yeah. And there is a distinct difference in how one creator can interact with one creator as opposed to how a creator can interact with a fan.
I'm tired of you running around, physically threatening creators and everything else. Just get out.
You know, I've had a really bad interaction with a fellow creator, just totally blown out of proportion, over the top, uncalled for. You know, I'm going to meet you in a back alley and fuck you up type of thing. You can't kind of interaction with this person, right? Totally crazy over the top. When this person goes ahead and then insults a fan, that really pisses me off. These people, they're our friends, and they're people that back our books. They're people that share our books, support our books, tell other people about our books. I'm really pissed off about it. I don't know what you think, Bancroft, but fucking hell.
I know you're pissed off about it.
And like some of these fans, like I said, man, they put so much work in. They don't have to put this work in, but they do so much for us creators. Like they make us money. One, we're potentially losing a friend if you're friends with that person, and two, we're losing money because this person isn't helping us anymore, and that is fucking bullshit. And it grinds my gears.
What if fans create popular YouTube content? Do then they become creators?
I actually do have stuff to say about this one. This whole you can't say mean things about the fans. It's just like a shield for like, yeah, you can't say mean things about the fans, right? But like everybody is a fan all of a sudden as soon as you like insult them. All of a sudden they're your fan that you insulted. When in reality, they're probably just some faggot that wanted to be a dick.
Well, I think people are gonna have personality conflicts, and, if one creator, literally only one creator, is the one that chases you out of CG because you don't like each other, then bye,
Yeah.
right? Um, it was a lot different when it was, like, War Campaign, right?
Yeah.
And you had all of War Campaign piling on people, all of War Campaign going after creators or going after fans, because they did that a lot as well. But for a personality conflict that's been brewing for months, this is not, because I wasn't watching the stream live, and because Matthew Fowler got banned from the chat, I have no way of knowing what was happening in the chat before that. No, I'm not a dinosaur. I am the skeleton of a field mouse.
And you're also a dinosaur.
And I'm a dinosaur too. Yeah, I guess I am. Yeah, I wouldn't let Dean name the stream what he wanted to because I'm a dinosaur.
Yeah. Which, by the way, was a great name. It was going to be called Leroy, Bull, or Beta.
And I didn't like it.
It's great. It's,
I liked fan or faggot better, but those kind of things
obviously we
can't
couldn't
go
do
in
that
your
one.
title. Yeah. But this isn't something that just popped off on that stream a few nights ago, right? And then Rob Arnold blind iteming Matthew Fowler as he's talking about it. I'm sorry, I don't blind item. I'm just gonna fucking tell you who it was and what was going on. And the fact that he did this stream not talking about what was going on or even what the real history behind it was. Yes, apparently, and Matthew Fowler admits it, he admitted it to me, he did threaten to punch Rob Arnold when Rob Arnold attempted to take his artist. It put him 3 weeks behind on his book because Rob offered him a shit ton of fucking money to work for him. Do
I
some
mean,
work
I'd punch
for
him in the face for nothing.
Yeah, well, but it's not like
A very punchable face.
Matthew Fowler is going from the Midwest to fucking Australia just to punch Rob Arnold in the face. I mean, some of us might do that because it seems tempting, but and then Rob Arnold goes, it was this big, huge, crazy thing over the top, and it wasn't. It wasn't at all. And so that's been happening in yeah, Matthew Fowler is kind of a badass if you talk to him, Mr. Dongs.
He's really cool.
That's the kind of thing that's been happening in the back rooms over in that little corner of YouTube, right? Leroy doesn't like Matthew Fowler. So and Rob Arnold doesn't like Matthew Fowler for obvious reasons. So things get said, things get spread around to back rooms because we all know what back rooms and discords and DM groups on Twitter can be like. Right. And unfortunately, I guess,
Yeah.
it sort of brings us to what we've been calling the Janny Mafia.
Now, I just want to point out Jack Stafford's comment. Arnold is always minging and perpetually constipated.
Yeah. I've noticed that. He's one of those guys that navel gazes a lot about CG too. Because I guess he'd had this horrible experience being out in the Kickstarter world by himself until he found CG. Now he has friends. like Leroy, who is afraid people may insult because then Leroy will no longer be his friend,
Yeah.
which makes no sense, right?
First of
mean-
all, who wants to be his friend? That's the part that makes no sense to me. I'm
but if
mind blown.
your friend walks away from your friendship because they're fighting with someone that you don't like, what does that say about how solid that relationship is?
I guess the friends were the internet losers we lost along the way or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I really like Matthew Fowler too. But it's that corner, right? So it's sort of like the Aussies minus Liam, because they don't want anything to do with Liam. And the chat, right? I mean, Leroy's an interesting case, right? Leroy didn't show up on Twitter or on YouTube until May of last year.
We wish he never showed up at all.
Some people do. Matthew Fowler probably certainly does. Right in the middle of the thought wars. And his first tweets were in support of Malin and Cecil, an anti-war campaign. And at the time, when I first saw him, I remember thinking, oh, dude changed his name. Because it was the same PFP. He's been, I remember that PFP going further back than May of last year, right? He says that he's been around Comicsgate since the beginning. But the account and the YouTube channel didn't start until May of last year. I think he changed his name. My gut tells me that he was War Campaign and rebranded when during the thought wars and the split, falling on the fandom menace Anna side, Malin, Cecil, EVS side of the equation. Because some of them did, right? And some of them didn't. He still seems to be friends with all the same war campaigners that he was hanging out with before. So that I think he was hanging out with before. Let me say that. Hi, Perth Comics. Nice to see you. And there's this tight little group of Jannies, everybody forgets, right? Or doesn't even notice how incredibly, I don't want to say powerful, but influential Jannies can be. For those of you who don't know, Janny's a moderator, because I get that question sometimes, right? They're the guys and gals that sit in the chat and they share people's YouTube channels. They share people's campaigns. And if the Jannies don't like you, the Jannies don't share your shit.
Yeah. So they gatekeep your stuff.
They do. They are definitely the first line of gatekeeping on YouTube channels. And a lot of them from the chat are Jannies all over that corner of YouTube. They're Jannies for Ethan, Fraga, Shane, Davis. Leroy seems to have a lot of pull with Shane Davis and Bancroft. He's been, I know he's been gatekeeping Matthew Fowler from Shane Davis's chat. I've seen that myself. So it just seems so weird to me. Sketch Therapy was kind of right about Jannies. I'm sorry.
He took it to an extreme.
He took it to an extreme extreme. But he was pretty bright. You know, they delete people's comments. They, time people out. They delete super chats. But they also share what they choose to share.
Yeah. I mean, we've talked to a creator who has had, some beef with Leroy, and Janny's straight up told him that they weren't sharing his stuff because there was some beef.
Yeah. Yeah. You can see it sometimes in the chat if someone dares share a Kickstarter or a campaign of somebody who's not quite on the approved Comicsgate list. But people wonder why their channels and their projects don't gain as much traction as they could.
Mhm.
And that's part of it. I mean, there are some great Jannies out there. Jack Stafford's a good Janny. Hervoge, Vilnid, Mo Biggs, But then appears to be a group that coordinate with each other. And I think and I see Leroy at the center of it. It's not that I think. I know he is.
Hmm.
And it's not something you can just smack down, something you can put in a video, because it's very difficult to explain, because you have to watch a shit ton of boring ass Comicsgate streams, and they get more boring by the week, right? To see the patterns and how it all works. It's pattern recognition, Dean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mr. Dong says, fuck all Janny.
Yes, I just highlighted that chat, Dean. You're really far away from your mic and you're rowboating.
No, you're roboting. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
And then Amit says, no Jannies in the Oz show.
Perth says, make better content and the gatekeepers can't deny you. That's not really true.
Yeah. I mean, because you can make the best content, and if you're being gatekept, nobody sees it.
Yeah. If they decide to not share your campaigns because they don't like you, no matter how fucking spectacular it is, it's not going to get shared. There's this weird glass ceiling right below what I'm going to call the B level creators. Shane's moving up into the A level, with Inglorious Rex, but viewer wise, he's still sort of B level, right? And they they don't reach out to new creators. All of these streams have the same fucking people on them over and over and over again. Today, Ethan actually had Robert Romano on talking about his comicsgate.org website, which was incredibly interesting. But I think the only reason he did it was because when he was on Dana Loesch's show, her producer gave her that as the Comicsgate website. So he has to promote it now because people are hitting it up.
Mhm.
But there's this glass ceiling right there that a lot of creators can't punch past, because they just it's such a click, right? Ethan only has it on the old bald guys ever. Even Robert Romano, he's not old, but he's definitely a bald guy. Fraga had different creators on, but only for Fragtober. But the rest of the time during his streams, it's the same people. Billy Tucci has the same. They all just stream together on each other's channels and never give anybody else a chance to kind of break through.
Yeah. I mean, and it's their right to do that, you know. We're not gonna, but at the same time, you gotta wonder, like, CG isn't doing that great. Like, there's not a lot of excitement for it, you know. And one has to wonder: is it because the clickiness? Is it because it's just the same guys being, you know, bumped up by the same big guys, and nobody else, nothing interesting's like being put out
I
there?
think that's a lot of it, right? Why? I mean, people. I watch a lot. I'm giving up. I'm stopping watching a lot of Comicsgate content because it's just boring, right? And a lot of that is the chats are usually fun, but the content itself, it's the same people talking about the same shit, shilling the same books that have been on Indiegogo for over a fucking year, right? How long can you shill those books? Almost $1.8 million has been raised by the books that are in demand, and that's just their in-demand money. That's not even the money that they made when they were open and active. That's just in demand because they sit there for so fucking long, right?
Yeah.
Only two of the books that are in the top 10 are closed. Conflict Cause Out and Sovereign. Those are
Yeah.
the only two campaigns on that list that are not still in demand, even though they're later than fuck. Right?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. This is why we're actually moving away from CG content. Like Buster Dog pointed out, last 2 weeks we covered an anorexic chick, and well, he said rapist. RSN isn't a rapist.
He's
but
not a
yeah.
rapist. He's just a dirt bag.
Yeah, he's just a dirt bag, but
He's a shitty person, Dean.
yeah. But you know, like, you know, that's kind of why we're moving away from CG content. It's just not that interesting anymore.
Yeah.
There's nothing going on, and it's just the same rehash stuff. Also,
What?
yeah, I don't know. You look at like the enemies of like Comicsgate, and they're just the biggest fucking losers. You know, so of course there's not going to be any excitement.
Amit says Rob Arnold should call out late books and shut up. Well, that's kind of hard when his own book is late. Amit. He readily admits it. He's got updates, you know. Oh, he also said during his video that creators should update their Indiegogo at least once a month. Creators should be updating their Indiegogo at least every 2 weeks. If you're late, you better be updating that fucker every week. And I don't want to just see one more pretty picture. I want to know how close you are to having it done. I mean, there are books I'm not backing anything on Indiegogo anymore. These actually I haven't backed in a while. And part of that is
Wow, you
because
don't even back books, Vicky.
I can't. I'm tired of waiting for books. And I mean waiting, right? I'll back something if I know it's going to be coming out on time. If I know I'm not going to have to wait until they have the money in their hand and go to their printer. I don't want to wait more than a month and a half, tops, for my book. And I want to know that's because they're printing that motherfucker and mailing it to me. Right? I mean, I sit there and I waited 10 months. Oh god, it was even more than that. It was basically a year because Ethan, kind of shifted the due date for his book. So I waited his Blood Honey was a year old. It was a year late, right? So I waited a year for that fucking book. And let me tell you, if I was backing book number 2 and I once again had to wait a year, you're never getting my money again. Ever. I don't care what it's for.
You weren't getting my money anyways.
Well, no. Well, I mean,
Yeah, take that,
I
motherfuckers.
could. Yeah. Perth Comics says once a month is progress enough for him. It's progress enough if they're on time and everything's on schedule. If they're behind, I kind of want to know about it more often. That's
Well,
that's
I
just
mean,
me. That's
I guess
just
it
me.
depends on how updated you're getting on that once a month, you know.
Well, when most of them don't update at all, right? I mean, when you have a book that was supposed to be delivered or was supposed to be fulfilled, like say, random month, June, and it's July, and they haven't updated their fucking Indiegogo since, April, then I think, should be you should be angry. And nobody complains.
Mhm.
I hear this, we expect Indiegogos to be late. That's just the way crowdfunding works. And it's not. They've been lying
Only
to you.
here it works that way. One of like the easiest things to not be late on in comparison to everything else that gets crowdfunded. Let's be honest. Like you have like actual technology being crowdfunded that seems to be able to, come out on time.
Yeah.
And then you have a book.
A 48-page comic book. And some
And
of them are less than
you just
that.
gotta wonder, like, why?
Yeah.
Why does everybody else that's doing, bigger, more innovative crowdfunds able to, stick to a schedule?
Yeah. Lesser Dog says, Vicky, what would your response be to the claim that by backing CG books, you are fighting the SJWs and that's enough of a reason to back? I think it's bullshit. I'm sorry.
You don't need to back a book to fight the SJWs. You could just tweet at them, you know, call them
Everything I
faggots. Like,
do,
you don't
eh,
need to back a book to fight them.
because
You
backing
could.
the book makes no difference. Okay? I mean, we're talking what? A comic book that has maybe, 3,000-4,000 backers, and those are the big ones, right? 6,000 maybe. That's not fighting shit. You fight you quote fight the SJWs, which I think is just dumb. By living your life, man. By saying the words they don't want you to say. By doing
Wait. I'm not. I just want to address Spirit Scar's comment. I'm not outraged or angry, like at all. I'm I'm just stating my thoughts on it. I think it just makes no sense. That's all. There's no outrage. I just think it's gay.
yeah, you know. Don't get the jab if you don't believe in getting the jab, right? Don't buy into CRT. Fight that at your local school board level. Buying a fucking comic book isn't going to do shit. You know, raise your kids to think for themselves. Homeschool. Do things that actually make a difference and an impact, because buying a fucking comic book makes no difference at all. You know, it's not going to. Netflix isn't crawling around CG looking for the next IP to make a TV series out of. They're not.
I don't know. Netflix does like a lot of trash. I just don't think that they've necessarily thought of tapping into it.
I don't think I did, John Luke. Honestly, I just think that, it's one thing to create a corner in a very, very niche market, right? Where people can create indie comic books away from the editorial and corporate decisions of Marvel and DC. That's great. I think it's that people are able to do that some of them are able to actually make a living at it is fantastic, right? But the world isn't going to change. Marvel and DC aren't going to change because of Comicsgate.
Yeah, I mean, they're just going to die because of themselves.
Right? They're already dying. Scholastic has more than 50% of the comic book market. DC used to have over 50% market share. And that was just 8 years ago. 8 years ago, DC had 50% of the market share in comics. They're now at 11. Marvel has 7% of the market share. And there's a reason why we call them the big two, because they were the big two, but they're not anymore. They're dying. They're just IP factories for movies and TV, which is fine if that's what they want to do. But independent comic books isn't going to change that corporate mindset.
Let me put things into perspective. CG is so boring that Spirit Scar, even though he finds this content boring, he would still watch it. He just prefers he could watch it at 2 times speed. That's how boring Comicsgate is.
I watch most of the streams at 2 times speed, just so I can get through them without wanting to off myself.
But he would still watch it. He just wishes he could watch it at 2 times speed. That means things are really boring right now in CG.
No, it just means that he doesn't like us anymore. He thinks we're boring, Dean.
But he'd still watch us. And that's the point. That's the point, Vicky.
Is it?
Yeah. It means
Good.
Comicsgate must be really boring if he'd still watch the content.
watch our content.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And Jack Stafford points out that print generally is dying, and it is. It really is. Paper books, which I love. I mean, I maybe I'm old, I don't know, but I love books. I love going into the bookstores, the smell of the ink and the glue holding those things together.
Okay.
I know it sounds gay as fuck, right? But I like the swoosh that the paper makes when you turn the pages.
Nobody likes that. She is flexing for no reason.
Love books.
Nobody likes it.
Right? But I realize that books are becoming an extremely niche market. The minute that Barnes and Noble started selling their Nooks, and you walked into Barnes and Noble, and the Nook display was literally the entire center of the store, right? So the entire center of the fucking bookstore is for an electronic gadget. Oh man, Perth, there's this used bookstore in Fort Lauderdale. It's right on the canal there. And you walk in there and the smell, it's just old paper and the ink and just, oh, it's fabulous. Yeah. I do that on vacation. I go to used bookstores. I'm sorry. I'm a dork. But as soon as they started selling the Nook in their stores and it became their big focal point, if you guys didn't see that print was gonna go by the wayside, you just weren't paying enough attention. Used bookstores have trouble getting books because people aren't buying them anymore, right? And so comic books are like this smaller niche inside this niche-y market of printed books that's just going to get smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. Kids today wander around with their tablets. They read everything on those motherfuckers,
Yeah.
right? And that so many Comicsgate creators have been so reluctant to go digital is I find flabbergasting. Yeah. Unfortunately, digital is the future. And books are now, kind of going to be artisan. That's why I dig George Alexopoulos, right? He went and he bought himself a big industrial printer. He prints his own books. He makes them by hand. It's completely an artisan thing, you know. And
Sounds very hipster.
it does sound hipster, but I
You guys
think
are all hipsters, aren't you? I knew you guys were faggots. No, I'm joking. I'm just kidding. Sort of. You're
What
not
Mr.
hipsters, are you?
Mr. Dongs is actually asking for a picture of me in a bookstore, I think. I don't think I'm a hipster. But when I got my first copy of Mari Sue 1 and 2, and that was the first time he had done this, was, he sat through the process, he figured out how to do it, he had all of his hits and misses, and then this beautiful book shows up that is made from hand, from the beginning to the end, and it was fabulous. It was better. It was better than almost as an experience, better than any of the other books I crowdfunded.
Was it?
Yeah,
Well,
as a
that's nice.
total experience.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
I don't know. I think we've exhausted the topic.
I think so too.
And unlike other YouTubers that you know, we're not going to continue to talk about nothing. But we could.
But we won't.
But we won't. But we could.
We won't. I have no idea if the pause show is happening tonight. I haven't seen hide nor hair of the pug host. But go check it, check the channel just to see. I spent the last 5 hours before the stream trying to finish up those fucking videos, so I don't know. But
Fuck you, Finatra. Piece of shit.
be nice to the chat, Dean.
Fuck the chat, Vicky. They're not fans. Oh, they're
I
gonna
like-
use that excuse.
They're gonna use
Be
it
nice to
against
the
you.
fans. Fuck
Be
the
nice
fans,
to
Vicky,
the
and fuck you too.
fans. No, I'm just saying be nice to the chat. I mean, except for Spirit Scar, if you want. You can be addicted to Spirit Scar. That's okay. But the
Spirit
rest
Scar
of
is
them, I
like the
like
one
them.
decent person in the chat. The rest of you, though, just sicken me. All right. Well,
Anyway, everybody have a great night. Have a wonderful time in what's left of Halloween. And we'll see you here next week. We may There may be a video coming out on Dean's channel sometime in the next few days. I'll be posting, I'll be adding a few things to the CG money video, and getting it up in the next couple of days. I just didn't have enough time I had to work both days this weekend, so I didn't have enough time to get all the info in there I wanted.
Yeah,
So,
do better next time, Vicky. Anyways,
anyways, you guys, good night, everybody.
good night, guys.